Hello, guys, and welcome back to Gel and Tell. We've got a very special guest today with us, the one and only Craig. Craig, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm living the dream.
Always.
Always living the dream.
Guys, just to maybe give a bit of an intro to the people on you. Obviously, we've been working together for a very long time now. In terms of like context, Craig is a great dad, great business owner, paramedic. Yeah, no longer a paramedic, but a trained paramedic that's worked as a paramedic for years, and an amazing TikToker. Sparked the conversation on bringing him on the podcast, which is super exciting. Can't wait to get into it. But yeah, I'm buzzing for this.
Let's start with Craig. How would you describe Craig Swinton in 10 seconds?
Jesus Christ, charismatic, great looking, hardworking, and doesn't give a shit.
I would agree on all of those points, and even more on the last one. Do you want to say how you found like your first experience going on one of Craig's lives?
Yeah, so maybe context. I've known Craig for a few years, but haven't worked as directly with Craig as Nora has as his business coach. So I've known how successful you are in your business and how hardworking you are and the amazing results you get for clients, but I hadn't experienced your community on TikTok before. And oh my God, it was fucking phenomenal. Picture this, it's a Tuesday night. I'm sat scrolling TikTok and I come across a TikTok live of Craig, 100 people in the chat. It's 10:30 and it's popping off. And I have to say, Craig, it was much more entertaining than Love Island or anything on my TV that evening. I really enjoyed it. The chat was really interesting, and the way that you just like held the space, I love. What I enjoyed so much about yours was the science, the swearing, and the really strategic and smart business plugs that were sprinkled in. But talking about like steroid usage, bodybuilding, people's health and fitness, but relating it back to like the science and your experience as an actual medical practitioner. I was like really interested in what you were saying, but also like everything was backed up and you were really like engaged with the chat. Just thought it was great. I was like learning a lot. I was texting Nora like, what's this? What's that?
She was like, he's brilliant. I love this. I'm going to be joining this more often.
See now, Georgia, this is why Nora doesn't join very often, because Nora tells me not to swear. Nora's in the corner saying, Craig, you shouldn't be swearing like that.
Is that my Cypriot accent?
It's my Cypriot accent, not yours.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, TikTok is literally the thing that's driven my business. So it all started in lockdown. I think that's when TikTok became popular for everyone. And I started with posts. So just doing posts like the shitty dancers and all the rest of it. And then I quickly realized that I could gear it more towards the business, get more eyes on, because it was such an organic reach at the time. You could do a shitty post and get 100,000 people watching it. So that's where it started. And then the lives, truly, it was because I was bored. I was in prep. So I was doing, my 45 minutes of cardio every day. And I was like, well, how can I optimize my time? I can't be on my bike texting and I can't be producing that much content. But what I can do is sit in front of a camera and talk to loads of fucking idiots that want to watch me sweat on a bike. A lot of gay guys, granted, not many of them wanted online coaching, but engagement rose nevertheless. And it's just one of those things where it just grew, the community grew. I found my niche of where I wanted to be with the lives, and it very quickly became my biggest lead magnet. And I think mainly because people got to see me, they got to see the personality, they got to see what they were buying into over and above progress photos and education, and it's the coach that they saw. So that's why I pushed it so much. It just blew up, really. And that's where most of my followers come from as well.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we love, having watched it and experienced it live, was the strategic, like, little bits that you do within the live that, like, promote your business even more without you being like, buy this, buy this, buy this, which is like, it's not as much in your face, but it's very strategic. And you plug, like, your lead magnets that we've created across the years. You plug, like, your coaching, and people ask in the comments and, like, want to find out more. So it kind of almost is a bit of like a ripple effect of like you say one thing, but then the comments feed it further and then more people get interested through it. Because we get quite a few downloads off the back of your lead magnets from just the lives, isn't it? That's how the email list was built. Yeah.
Thousands. So if I go in a live and I spend 60 minutes on a live, I know I'm going to get about 50 downloads per live. You multiply that over consistently, 6 lives a week, it builds up into a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's amazing. And obviously, like, you're getting people to follow you from the live, so your followers are increasing, so you're getting email addresses, because we don't own our followers like on any platform, but we do own our mailing list. So that's like amazing from that angle of the business. And then what I loved even more is people are booking calls.
Yeah.
So you're moving them even further along the funnel, because you're like, people are asking coaching questions and you're saying, well, if you do want that level of detail, you're going to need my one-to-one coaching, book a call here. And then you're like, cool, Sharon's booked a call or whatever. But you're seeing literally, it's almost like those like telesales channels, but without selling anything other than your personality.
Yeah.
And people are like downloading, following, buying. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I think more people should be getting on it.
I like watching people like Gary Vee. Gary Vee is one of those, he will tell you what you should be doing. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to work. And he pushes telesales a lot, just because you look on TikTok, what do you see on every other post? It's something being sold or someone giving you a review on something being sold with a link to it. And the same with the lives. People are there selling products on 50% of the lives now. Well, whilst I don't have a physical product, we've got digital product, digital assets, and you've got the coach. And I always think, why are people selling or buying more off there than they are by like off Argos or something like that? Well, they're seeing the product work. They almost feel like they've got the hands on the product before they buy it.
Yeah, 100%. I think we are moving towards like a wave of like consumers where like people buy based on experience rather than like what the actual features are. I think the reason why the lives convert so well for you is because you are you. Like, you don't hide through anything. Like, you don't try to be someone else that you're not. And you swear a lot, which seems to work, but you're authentically yourself, and that stands out for sure.
I always wanted to be me. And even as a paramedic, paramedic, lifeguard, teaching, that's the approach I always had, is just be you. Don't try and please everyone, and you'll probably do a lot better in life. And yes, you're going to get a lot of people that think you're a dick. Well, all right, there's a lot of people in the world, so let's just forget about them and move on to the next.
100%. I'd love to, now that you briefly mentioned it, starting off as a paramedic, then moving into becoming a full-time online coach, I'd love to kind of like go back to that story and like give people a bit of context around how you build up to now be obviously a very successful business owner in the fitness industry. When we started working together, you were still juggling both, building both, whilst also building a family. So walk us through that timeline of what happened across the last few years.
It's a weird one, really, because I never wanted to be a paramedic. So my background was always sport. I played sport at a semi-professional level, I'd say. So I played basketball. I lived in a house with other basketball players, but I always wanted to be a sports development coach or a sports tutor or something like that. But then you quickly realise that there's not a lot of money. If you're going to have a family later on, it's not going to be sustainable for most people. And I had one of those, it sounds really fucking cheesy, but it's the God's honest truth. I had one of those life-changing moments where I was on the motorway and I was behind a car accident. That car accident happened in front of me. A lorry hit a car. That car flipped off the motorway. And that's the first time I've ever experienced anything like that. And for whatever reason, I pulled over and I went down to see what I could do. All I did, there was a family with 3 kids and a dog in this car. They got out, bit of blood, and I just stood there with them and just watched the ambulances turn up, the helicopter, the fire engine. Did nothing, did absolutely nothing, just stood there with them. And then about 2 months later, someone turned up at my house, and it was the guy who was in the car. He'd driven from Scotland to Nottingham to give me this hamper of whatever it was, like chocolates and all the rest of it, because he said me stopping and staying with them had changed that experience for the better for them and the grandkids, because I was having a laugh and a joke with the grandkids. And it was one of those moments where you feel like it's changed your life forever. So it was that point that I thought, well, how do I get more of this? How do I have an impact on other people's lives? Originally, I wanted to join the fire service, but you just couldn't at that point. So then I started looking at the ambulance service, and that's when I applied, went through university and started that. But that was how I got into the ambulance service. 12 years later, did lots of things in the ambulance service, very lucky to have experienced different roles and do the jobs that I wanted to do. But you just realise that longevity-wise, the NHS for me wasn't something I was going to do long term. No real higher progressions. You're limited on what you can earn. You're limited on how it impacts on your life with shift work, how that impacts on what you can do with holidays and things like that. So I wanted to find something that I could do that I was passionate about, fitness, and make more money. So that's when I started looking into developing a PT business, firstly in person, and then progressing to online. And then fast forward 5 years, here we are.
Here we are. And you've built an amazing community and a great business. But yeah, I think just the story like shows like the values that you've based your business on, as well, as much as like, I think when people, come to your lives or see like, they can see like the unfiltered Craig, the like sweary Craig. But like one thing that I always say is like, you are a good human, that has great values, and your coaching, as much as it's based around transformations, you're not just after that before and after picture. Which is what makes you like a really, really, really good coach. How did you find managing both? Because at some point you were in a position where you could go full-time straight away. There was a time where, when we were working together, I think you were managing about 40 to 50 clients while still being part-time, 3 to 4 days a week. So yeah, walk me through that phase of your life.
I think when we started really pushing the online, I was still full-time as a paramedic. So I was even doing in-person coaching at the time as well. That was tough. It was very stressful. I was self-limiting as well. You just can't push things where you want because you don't have the time to do it. I was lucky because at the time I was in a role, I was in a specialist unit role. And truth be told, we didn't do a lot. We were saved for the big jobs. We didn't have to do the run-of-the-mill paramedic work. So I was privileged that I could basically do the admin side whilst I was at work. But it did get to a point where it was just too much. And I can remember I remember the day. I can remember where I was in my bedroom, and I'd had about a 2-week spell where I just couldn't sleep because I was just constantly wanting to reply to clients straight away, not setting any boundaries, taking on too much. And I truly think I was in a depressed state at that point because it was just getting too much. It was affecting all elements of my life because I wanted this so bad. I wanted to push the business so much, but I wasn't quite ready to let go of what I'd worked 12 years for, to get to the pinnacle of my career, as it were. And I don't think it was me and you working together at this point. And then I transitioned to yourself. And I think that's when we decided, look, you're going to have to go part-time because you're just not going to be able to push any further. Very tough decision. But I think as soon as I did it, as soon as I made the decision, it was like almost like a relief. I'd got a lot of weight off my shoulders. And it was that point I knew I could really start pushing the online business. And that's happened, I think, probably 3 or 4 times. Leaving Heart to go back on the road part-time.
I remember that.
Going to 1 day a week in a different role in a different area, then saying, right, well, fuck you, I'm going to leave it all together. So there's been several points in that transition where I've had massive anxiety for leaving, the unknown of what's going to happen with your business, and then a massive relief because I've actually done it.
So tricky, isn't it? That transition, I think. It's a bit of an identity thing as well of like, I'm living this thing that I thought I was meant to be doing my entire life. And then suddenly you become more passionate about, the side hustle that you're building, that you're like, it just makes sense now for me, but it's still scary to leave. One thing that I would say, experiencing this as like someone that has been in your corner through that process, was even though you did take the jump to go fully self-employed, your work ethic like is unbeaten in my opinion. So like it almost as if like, yes, it was risky, but you didn't give yourself a choice for it not to work. And that's one thing that I've always admired about you is like you'll do the thing even if you don't feel like doing it. Like, so yeah, I think a lot of people can take lessons from this. You know, there have been days, we've had discussions about this, where you didn't feel like doing things, but you still showed up. Sometimes I go to the gym at like 6 a.m. and I get a notification you're live on TikTok. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? But it just shows the extent of what you have to put yourself through to build a successful business like you have.
You know, you work with a lot of coaches. I talk to a lot of coaches, people that want to get into coaching, people that are and want to progress, and people that maybe are seeing a decline in the business. And the biggest factor, in my opinion, people don't understand how much it takes. And by no means am I where I want to be. Like I always want to set the bar higher, and I'm perhaps only scratching the surface on where I want the business to be. But people need to understand how much time you have to put into it. Online coaching is not sitting on a beach in Dubai. It's fucking grinding every single day. Even when you're on holiday, rightly or wrongly, doing check-ins and doing posts, and it's fucking tough.
Yeah, 100%. What would you say is the biggest driver for your growth? Because obviously you quadrupled your business since we've worked together personally. I know there's been more growth before that. Yeah, more than. So if you were to pinpoint one thing that made the difference in your business to get it to the growth that it is now, hitting these big months that we are hitting, what would that be?
I think for me, it was having the confidence to say, you know what, you're one, good at your fucking job. Two, you're worth what you're charging, and it's okay if people don't want to work with you. They're the three biggest things, because I think all three of them can create that fear that it's like that imposter syndrome, isn't it? So you don't want to push things because you don't want to be seen as a fake. You don't want to charge something because you don't want to be seen to be taking the piss. And you almost like self-limit. So I think as soon as I started truly believing that you're okay at this, you know, you're getting results, that's what was a big changer for me. Because I think I was then able to commit to the sales calls. I was able to commit to answering the questions online. And at that point, you become that point of authority, and people are more likely to work with you.
Love that. You get amazing results for your clients as well, which I think also helps with that authority. Your transformations are on another level. How do you get people to comply with the plan and get those kind of results? Like what do you do that you think is different? Like we've worked with loads of coaches, and like there's some great people out there, but they're not great coaches. And they can't get people in shapes.
You know what? There is a secret. There's absolutely a secret, and it's fucking simple. And the time, it's not fucking hard to get people lean, and it's not fucking hard to help people build muscle. It's so ridiculously simple. It's just that all these other pricks out there are promising a different kind of secret that's got nothing to do with what's going to actually give you results. And they focus on the small percentages rather than the low-hanging fruit. So I'm not saying I'm the best coach, but I get really good consistent results because I help people figure out that it's about what they're eating. Eat more, eat less. It's about lifting weights and doing a moderate amount of activity, training hard and not complicating the fucker. As soon as you start complicating it, it's just going to fail. So, yeah, I think my secret is just keep it fucking simple. The downside to that is people don't want simple. People want the secret. So it's how do we get them convinced that it's not about this supplement. It's not about this special diet. It's about doing simple things and doing it well.
100%. I think that's brilliant. And it's something we see a lot as well in business. People are looking for a magic bullet. They're looking for some tactic they've never heard of, or something that's going to completely get them to that 10K month that they think there's impossible, which it isn't if you just do the right things every single day. And they're the simple things: starting conversations, posting content, getting results. Like, it's so frustrating that people are always looking for magic.
So you work with coaches, right? And this is something that pisses me off left, right, and fucking center. So you've got coaches that are promising the secret to get shredded. And then you've got coach mentors that are just failed coaches that are promising the secret for the 10K month. What's your guys' thoughts on them pricks?
So the way that I view it is that with the mentors or the gurus, all these people that are doing it, if you are going to go and invest in someone, look at their track record and results, look at what business they built. I've never had a coaching business. That's not my background. I've got 10 years of marketing experience. So I'm not sat here being like, I'll help you build your coaching empire because I've built my own. No, I can help you market your coaching business and grow it because I've got 10 years of marketing experience. It's more a case of look at the results and record of someone. And if they have built an amazing business or can get results, then cool. But there's too many people that haven't done that. So just be really mindful because it's actually quite terrifying how many are cropping up on the internet. But yeah, I think it's oversaturated now and it's highly problematic.
With the rise of AI as well. Like what pisses me off on this topic is
Nora, did you just swear?
Nora said as well.
No.
My God, that's the first time I've heard you swear.
Okay.
Really? Nora said ball ache yesterday and it made my day because I say that all the time. And she went, yeah, it was such a ball ache. And I was like,
oh my God.
Girls learning.
I love how you're both so proud of me. That is iconic.
Wow.
What frustrates
you off?
me?
What pisses you off, Nora? Tell us
what
again.
What frustrates me is with the rise of AI as well, not only do you get now people preaching the 10K months and making it look easy, they also now preach that it's all automated. And I'm like, guys, is anyone going to keep anyone accountable for actually doing the work? Because I'm so like, that just frustrates me. I've always said this and I stand by it. Business is simple, it's not easy. And going back to what we said earlier, what made you build a great business, Craig, is your work ethic and doing the things when you don't feel like doing them. And I think with all these like preaching out there and the 10K months and the Stripe screenshots and X, Y, and Z, here's what you can achieve in 3 months, it kind of almost creates this like false perception of like what it takes to be a really good business owner and to actually love what you do and get great results. Because I do think getting great results is a fundamental part of building a sustainable, good business long term. Yes, you might get really good at sales and get like a 10K month, within your first 3 to 5 months. But if you don't know how to get people results, you're going to build a really bad reputation for yourself that you can't really sustain later. And you're going to realize you've not spent enough time actually servicing your clients well to keep them in.
It's funny what you said about AI, because I think coaches have a real cool opportunity with AI right now. Because another gripe, not that I'm one to fucking talk about gripes and moan about shit. However, when you flick through TikTok or Instagram, what do you guys do when you see an AI video? Not a funny one, because I love that shit. The chiropractor ones where it's like snapping grannies in half and chucking them out windows. I would binge that shit all day. So that is my bag. But when it's an AI video and the person is AI and they're trying to sell something or whatever, do you stay and watch it or do you instantly scroll off?
I always scroll past the AI people and the AI captions as well. They're so boring. It's just doesn't feel real anymore. It's just boring.
100%. I do think there's big opportunities within business to utilize AI, but someone like you, Craig, you would never automate your check-ins using AI, because you care about the results.
This is what I think. I think people are going to be so disengaged with AI generated content that they are going to crave originality. They're going to crave a face brand, not just an AI brand. And for those of us that have a platform already and they already trust that, not trust the face, but know that your face is real, I think AI doesn't stand a chance with that, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually thinking about this morning. I have seen recently a lot of either consultants, mentors in the space that have now switched from doing consulting to building AI businesses or building tools to support their current audience that they're serving with AI tools. And I was thinking to myself, it might work short term. And I think there's a hype around AI at the moment. And it can do amazing things. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's super powerful. But I think people will crave that human element to things. Someone to keep you accountable. Because, like, the computer can't do that. Someone to, like, be that second pair of eyes on your business. Someone to, call you out when you're not doing the work. Like, AI can only, potentially give you a to-do list or, yes, maybe you can set up a bot and give you reminders and stuff. But having that person there is just so different. And I think people always will need that and will crave that.
My brother-in-law, he will make most of his decisions in life based off a conversation with AI. And for me, like, if that works, it works. I find it really worrying when people do that, because AI isn't infallible, and AI can lie, and AI can not give you accurate information. So if you're basing decisions off that alone without any kind of external validation, I genuinely get worried for people that do that literally just talk to AI all day.
Yeah, it's scary. Have you seen, there was a news article this week and a man's fallen in love with his AI agent and wants to marry it? That's fucked up.
I mean,
like, there is some weird stuff going on in the world with AI.
That's wild.
what do you say to that?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. But I do think it is scary. Also, if you use it too much, it's not very fun doing any work, because I actually like thinking and using my brain and creativity. And if AI does it all for me, then what's the point in building a business that I'm passionate about if I can't actually enjoy working on it? Like, enjoy it being hard.
That's quote of the day. Georgia likes it being hard.
Oh God, I do enjoy it being hard.
Anyway, leading up to this podcast, Georgia was like, we should talk about steroids.
Well, I'm really interested, and I've been reading a lot about GLPs and steroids, not because I'm personally wanting to use them, but obviously there's so much noise on the internet about weight loss jabs, peptides, steroids. Can you give us and our audience a bit of a rundown one-on-one, like what is a GLP, what is a steroid, what is a peptide? Because I think a lot of us don't really know.
Yeah, and it's obviously a buzz at the minute, isn't it? And I think rightly so, because these things, they work. They are, in simplest terms, they are a cheat code to get in the results that you want. They work. It's a reason why steroids have been around for the last 100 years, maybe. So anabolic steroids, there's so many of them. And basically, they're there to help you grow more muscle, get leaner, get stronger. So that's their primary role. Most steroids start off in medicine. So a lot of steroids were used to treat muscle wastage. They were used to treat certain cancers in women. So things like Masteron, Primobolan, which are very prevalent anabolic steroids, were a primary treatment for breast cancer.
Wow.
A lot of them are used in veterinary practice. So Trenbolone to make cattle bigger, equipoise to make horses more athletic. So these compounds have been around forever, and then people have experimented on themselves, or they've taken bits of knowledge and said, this could do this to me potentially. Now, you go back 30 years, there wasn't a lot of evidence. There was not a lot of people talking about it. So a lot of it was the dude at the gym says do this, so I do that. I get big, without any considerations for health or the pharmacokinetics and the biochemistry behind it. Nowadays, there is a lot more push towards, and this is a term that's been coined by my coach, Matt Strong, Joe Jeffries, John Jewett, is the safer use model. How can we use anabolic steroids in a safer way to get results and limit the deleterious health effects that they can and will cause? The most recent times, GLPs have been the thing that came onto the market, like Ozempic, Wegovy, semaglutide, all the way up to retatrutide. And I think they're going to be the biggest health drug ever created, in my opinion. I was one of these people that really shit on them. And I think mainly because I was quite intimidated by them. I thought these things are going to come in, people are going to lose loads of weight, they're not going to need coaches. But when you talk to people that have used them, when you talk to people that have administered them with clients and seen the results that they get, you realize that ultimately it's only going to be a net positive, because what's the biggest killer on the planet? It's obesity. Yeah. That obesity will cause heart disease, it will cause diabetes, it will cause stroke, high blood pressure. So if we can literally stop people from being obese, you stop all those other health conditions.
That makes a lot of sense. I was reading I don't know what the study was, but there was some evidence saying that ages your muscles, so they deplete over time, and you can age yourself by 40 years. Your muscles just disintegrate with the GLPs. Is that true?
So I think when we look at studies, you always have to take it into context. So when you get the data. Statistically, people lose muscle tissue when they use GLP-1s. But if I was to ask you the question, do you think more or less people focus on protein intake and weight training when they go into GLP-1s? Or do you think they jab themselves and starve themselves?
Yeah, I was going to say people just starving themselves and not doing any exercise.
Yeah. So what is the actual cause of muscle wastage whilst using GLP-1s? It's the lack of activity and the lack of focus on nutrition. And that is absolutely one of the big risks. Is when Ozempic came out, it was so highly regulated that people had to have continued support. They had to have interventions from a nutritionist. But then you started to be able to buy it from the pharmacy. It became a cosmetic drug, not a health drug. So now you've got, and I hate to stereotype, but you've got the housewife at home that's jabbing, not eating anything. I feel amazing, I've lost 40 pounds, but she's malnutritioned and she looks shit because she's lost loads of muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very enlightening, especially for me, who's always just thought that like the GLPs are like a really bad thing, especially probably because of what I see on social media. But the way you've explained it, I think is really insightful and makes a lot of sense as well. You talk a fair bit about sort of performance enhancing drugs as well. What's a peptide? Is that some sort of performance enhancing drug? Or
I think it's in a grey area. So it does enhance performance. So if you look at it from, okay, does me injecting this or consuming this enhance my performance? The answer is yes. And then if you look at WADA, which is World Anti-Doping Association, a lot of organizations are now looking at peptides and they are on the WADA list because they work. And so in bodybuilding, if you want to compete in a natural federation, you have to be really careful of what peptide you're going to be using, if any, to be honest. However, it's almost like general population people that aren't going to compete, that aren't into sport, they see it as okay, I don't want to take steroids because I don't know enough about it and I might die, but I think peptides are completely safe. So it's going to be a multi-billion pound industry if it isn't already, because these peptides that you can inject, they do very specific things and they can be very impactful on fat loss, on health, so like skin regeneration, managing blood glucose levels. There is a peptide for pretty much everything.
wow.
And I think the key thing is realizing what has a noticeable impact and what will only give you small incremental impacts. Because then you know where to put your money. And there's too many people, again, when we go back to the focusing on the secret and focus on that little minutia versus the low-hanging fruit, in my lives, I can guarantee there'll be motherfuckers that are saying, what do you think to Tessa Morellin, CJC? What do you think to this, this, and this? And I guarantee they don't even know what a fucking protein is. So they're looking for that little secret injection that's going to get them lean without doing the other stuff around it.
Yeah. But what point in someone's like, I don't know, bodybuilding journey or fitness journey would you actually encourage them to start exploring like this kind of stuff?
Don't. When it comes to things like steroids, I always say to people when they come on a consultation call with me, okay, are you doing steroids now? Yes or no? Cool. If it's a no, I will never suggest that you start. However, it's a conversation that we can have if you want to later on. But I'll never say you have to do steroids. If they're already on steroids, I'll just help them do it in the safest way possible through education and pointing them in the right direction.
Yeah, because there's so much in the industry as well, where coaches do put people on certain substances without the people even understanding the substances in the first place. And there have been instances in natural competitions where people have been called out for, taking substances that they shouldn't be taking as a natural bodybuilder because their coach told them it's fine to do so. I think GLP-1s and peptides are part of it, isn't it? Because now natural federations are coming out on social media saying, if you have taken any of these substances, you cannot compete in our federation. But the thing is, they're so available now to people. So people might be taking them without even realizing that if they ever wanted to compete naturally, they're not considered a natural bodybuilder. I don't think people are informed enough about them. I mean, I'm the little natural bodybuilder here. Like whenever we have our calls, you talk to me about all these things. I'm like, I have no idea what any of it is.
Nora's literally in our calls and she's so innocent to all these things. No, do you know what ibuprofen is?
I do, yes.
Okay, just checking. I'm just checking. Just
I feel
wondering,
like
just
this
wondering.
podcast is just making fun of me, guys.
No, we love you. I think that's so interesting. And, you know, you really know your stuff on it, which comes through. But you must get some hate on the internet about this topic because it's quite controversial. What do you, like, how do you handle, like, the keyboard warriors and the people giving you jip?
Your mother jokes.
We did see a couple of those on the live.
What's your best, your mum joke?
George, give me some grief.
Oh, stop jabbing yourself, you prick.
Oh yeah, but I was jabbing your mum last night. How about you wind the fucking neck in?
We'll have to turn on the explicit content on this podcast because
This is not going to get monetized. This will not get monetized at all.
Oh, that is funny.
So you asked me how do I deal with it, and I always like just come back because I understand that not everyone's going to agree with you. Everyone's got an ego and they think they know best. I'll come back with funny your mum jokes. The only things that really trigger me, and these are the things that will always, I'll just block the person. I won't even engage with them, is if someone talks about my family. And if someone starts mentioning my kids, it's some kind of internal primal hatred for someone that you've never met before. And that's the only point where I just say, like, I'm going to block you. So that's probably the worst things I've ever had. Anything else, I've got people have created TikTok accounts saying how old I look. There's 3. And people just post videos highlighting how old and haggard I look. I'm like, brilliant. Great, guys.
What?
Thanks.
How do people have the time? That, like, what?
They're in the mum's basements using the mum's underwear to wank off. That's why. That's their job.
I always wonder, like, what do these people do for work? It's just crazy to me that you've got the energy and capacity to make a Instagram page to say that someone else looks old.
You know what?
That's weird.
What really baffles me is they criticising me to say that I've got you obviously don't have a job. You've got time to be on TikTok. I'm like, hey, just go to fucking company's house, fill your boots. And I feel for these people to a certain extent because, you know, they've got nothing else in their life, have they? And I honestly think me interacting with them is probably going to be the highlight of their day to a certain extent. And I'll give them a little bit of attention. As soon as they get boring or they start detracting from the live, that's when I either mute them or block them. And trust me.
I think hate is part of, you know, putting yourself out there, building a social media kind of audience and being authentic. Like we said this in a previous episode as well, is like not everyone's going to like you if you are truly yourself. And that's fine. It's just proof that you're not trying to blend in and like, you know, almost people please everyone. I guess it comes with a lot of positives because you build a fantastic business off the back of it. And you've got a great client base that respects you and loves you for who you are and how you coach them. And I guess there will always come a bit of like a downside to
100%. Because you've got what, like 50? You got 50,000 followers on TikTok, Craig.
55.
So it's a lot of people that. So there's going to be some pricks in there for sure. Kind of inevitable with that volume, right?
Me and Nora's had this conversation about a few things. Like the more people you interact with, it's just a greater possibility that you're going to have pricks. You work with more clients, you're going to get more clients not do what they're meant to be doing, or more clients try and screw you over in business because for whatever reason. You talk to 100 people, it's just inevitable that there'll be some negative stuff there. I love this kind of shit as well. Like, you know, traditionally humans only used to talk within their little town, didn't they? They might have 20 connections. And now we've got connections to millions of people. For me as a business owner, it's really good. But there's definitely people out there, and I worry for young coaches, whereas if they do start being authentic and themselves, they might start focusing on that negative energy rather than the good bits.
Yeah. I think you have to have quite a strong sense of self and people around you to make sure that you just keep your head screwed on and focus on the business and not let the little comments here and there bring you down. We've seen way too many people just stop posting or even quit their coaching business because of a comment online or a video not going to plan. And you just got to get over yourself a little bit and just keep at it because it's never always going to go to plan.
Do you guys think, I mean, you'll work with a range of people. Do you find that younger coaches that have predominantly conversations on phone, social media, and computers, do you feel like they're more or less susceptible to that rather than that maybe our older population of coaches that didn't have that interaction at a younger age? More in person, banter, face to face?
Great question. From what I've seen, I feel that the younger coaches, so we're talking like under 25s, I think they have a lot more resistance to starting conversations with people, and they're a lot more like challenging to create certain types of like sales content and stuff like that, because they're way more worried about what people think. And then the older coaches, so anyone I'd say like 50 plus demographic, do not give a flying fuck, and they will just send it and then actually get really great results from Instagram, even though you might presume that the younger coach is going to do better because they are younger, fresher, better at content than a 50 plus. But the 50 plus is happy to chat to people, be real, put whatever story, even if it's not aesthetic, up and actually sell. I've got better results with older coaches than younger coaches because they have less inhibitions, but their content looks worse. So you might put them next to each other and say, that's a 1K a month business, that's a 10K a month business. And I'll be like, swap the numbers.
I do agree, because I think a younger coach also has a lot of imposter syndrome when it comes to getting results, because they don't yet have the experience. So a lot of the things that we hear is, I don't want other coaches to see this content, which is wild to me, because other coaches won't buy from them, you know? And but then an older coach who's had the experience, the life experience, I would say, to be potentially judged by in other situations other than business as well throughout their life, is at the point where like, I'm doing this for me now, and regardless of the backlash that I might get, or I get other people having different opinions to me, I will still do it. I'll do it for me, I'll do it for my family. There will always be downsides, but I think they're less affected by that as much as a younger coach would.
Do you think younger coaches enjoy producing content? Because I fucking love it. I have a right laugh. Like when I go into the gym and I've got a list of stuff and I'm just ripping it and just taking the piss out of anyone, everyone, including myself, I just fucking laugh to myself, and I just enjoy putting it out there. Do you think people truly enjoy making content, or do you think they enjoy the byproduct of what that will do? Potentially.
I think it depends on the character of the person. I think some people hate it, and they're not comfortable like setting up a tripod, talking, anything. And in those cases, like they have to either learn to like it and enjoy it, or accept that building an online business just isn't going to be viable. Because if you aren't willing to create content and look like, put yourself out there, then it's just going to be such an uphill battle to get any clients. So I think confidence is important for sure. I don't know if that's even an age thing. I think it is just like a character, personality thing. What about you, Nora?
I would say they find it easier to create content in terms of younger coaches grew up in an environment where social media was always a thing. Whereas I think older coaches, the resistance from them creating content more comes from like not knowing how to do that. What the younger coaches have grown up in an environment where almost like TikTok and Instagram was always there, and like editing comes a bit more naturally because iPhones always existed in their world. But then an older coach had to learn, and I think had to develop as technology evolved across the years, because it evolved like rapidly. So the catching up that an older coach had to do to be comfortable with that, I think it's just two different problems. And I think you get people that overcome that imposter syndrome that younger coaches face and shine on social media, but it's just that mindset that they have to overcome to be good at content, because I think they have the opportunity that they grew up in social media to know how to do it, but it's just the mindset that's stopping them more than anything.
Craig, thank you so much for all your time and all your wisdom and stories and sharing with us. I think it's been amazing to get to know you a bit more, hear about your journey. You've done so much in such a short space of time. You're only 30?
Fuck off. You're a liar. No, right? Firstly, you're a piece of shit, Georgia, right? That is bullshit, okay? Fraudulently think that I'm 30 is just taking the piss. So thank you very much for that. I'm 39. And yes. Nora, I look 49. Let's not take the piss.
No, I mean, I'm not the one who made a TikTok account about your age, Craig.
This is true. Yeah. Three.
Oh.
To close then, one just last question for you to end on, Craig. If someone is listening and wants to build a successful business like yours, what's the one takeaway or thing that they should focus on first?
I'm going to give you two things. I think you've got to do something that you love. Sounds like such a cliche, but if you don't love it, you're not going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to fucking do the thing. You're going to click snooze and away you go. You're just going to sleep through and never progress. And just be prepared to not love it because you have to work so fucking hard to make it a go. It's that delayed gratification. There are going to be points where you don't love it because you've been up at 5 o'clock every morning for the last 365 days. But it's that work that allows you to reap the rewards later on. Maybe take a step back or be a fucking idiot like me and keep adding things to your plate.
I love that. Yeah, you know how much respect I have for you as a person, but also a businessman. So I think it's been a great chat, Craig. So I appreciate you joining us.
I'm really surprised that I got invited because I thought this was a whole little girl power thing that you had going on. I was like, oh, I'm in a little girl gang now. This is amazing.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
No, we're gals, but it's not like a gals only club.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I come out for like brunch and we'll have mimosas?
Yeah, we'll do. Well, we're in prep at the moment, so it will be Diet Coke.
Wait, when do you finish your shows, Craig, this year?
It should be November. Oh, what we'll do is we'll do a Christmas little get together in London town.
Love that. We'll both be off prep then as well. So there we go.
We will.
Love it. Do you like karaoke, Craig?
Do I love karaoke?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does a bear shit
Oh my
in the
God, do
woods?
you? What does what shit in the woods? The Pope?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
I guess so. But what's your favourite karaoke song before we leave?
My go-to is Robbie Williams' Swing When You're Winning.
Oh, I love a bit of Robbie. I always start with Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. And then normally my second one is Poison by Alice Cooper.
Nora,
that's where I go.
I'm going to throw a massive assumption out there, and please don't hate me. However, I can't see you for a second being good at karaoke.
She's going to hate that.
Georgia, answer that.
Nora likes Justin Bieber.
And I've actually got a decent voice. Thank you very much. And my choice is Adele, Chasing Pavements. And second one is Justin Bieber. Yes.
We do love a karaoke booth. We do. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Exciting. I'm already looking forward to it.
Thank you, Craig, for being our first podcast guest. This was fun.